Hello, everyone. Today, we have a very special honor of having a special guest to come talk to us about working with students. And Johnny has been very inspirational. I've known him for many years. He has worked with students here in the Central California area and has just made such an impact. So we're going to talk about that, and I'm going to ask you lots of questions. So welcome and glad to have you, Johnny.
Thank you, Cyndy. It's an honor to be with you and an honor to be with the students at UCLA. Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What is your background?
My background is I come from Mexicali, Mexico. When I was 3 years old, I was born in Mexicali, and when I was 3 years old, we came to Fresno. So I've kind of lived in Fresno all my life. I went to elementary schools and middle schools and high school in Fresno. But my story was, as a teen father, I had two dads, one in Mexicali that I didn't know, and the stepfather that was, if I choke up and start to cry, it's because I get personal, I get very emotional. But a stepfather that I didn't like, he treated my mom really bad. And so I didn't have a father. So my senior year of high school, I got my high school girlfriend pregnant. And I knew I wanted to be a father or a dad. There I go crying. I knew I wanted to be a father or dad that I never had. And so I decided to marry her my senior year. So I let go of sports, track, cross country, soccer, none of that my senior year. I was probably maintaining a 2.0. But anyway, so we got married senior year, and then she went on to become a nurse and go to school and become a nurse. I went to night school for 5 years at Fresno City College. I finally got my A degree, and then I went on to actually become a police officer because I had wanted to become a cop, and I thought I could be a police officer and help young people. And that didn't work. 2 years later, I quit, got out of police work. I went back to school at Fresno State to get my BA. And then I thought I wanted to go to a Christian school because I'm a man of faith. So I went to Fresno Pacific University to get my PPS and my master's. And I did. And then 20 years later, I'm retired as a school counselor and did middle school, elementary school, and high school counseling, and very passionate about getting high school kids, especially Latino kids who are underrepresented, exemplary students, high school students who are just the top of the, almost cream of the crop, but is helping to be college ready. So I just started a program called Bridge to College about 5 years ago, and it's college access. It's providing leadership workshops once a month, providing college tours to California colleges and then to the Ivy League schools, because I really believe in our kids do belong at the Ivy League schools. And then the last thing I do is I guarantee our seniors in our program $1,000 scholarships. So we have a dinner at the end of the year, and we give every senior in my program, as they graduate and go to college somewhere, we give them $1,000. So that's kind of who I am and what I've done in a minute, in a nutshell.
Well, that's impressive. And I know I've known you, you've worked in schools, we've worked together in the AVID program. So, we've crossed paths many times over the years. What were some of the challenges you faced in getting an education?
What I faced was being Spanish speaking home was, like I said, I didn't have a father. I didn't have a lot of knowledge of education. I do have one older brother that went to school. And I remember when we were younger, he was my role model. He did well in high school and was a star in sports. And I thought, hey, I want to be like him. And he kept me going. Out of 11 of us in our family, there's 11 Baltierras in my family. He just took me under his wings and kind of guided me. But I looked to him a lot for advice and counsel, and so when he left home and got married or whatever, I thought I'm going to do it. Especially when I got married, that also made me grow up. But being from a large family, everybody left, my older brothers and sisters, and so we were on welfare. We were poor. I didn't have a father. We had to work in the fields with my mom, and I remember those days, and it was not good. And so I remember telling myself when I got married and had kids, they weren't going to work in the fields, and they were not going to know what food stamps were. So it was hard. And then only speaking Spanish at home with my mom. I didn't really talk to my father-in-law, my stepfather, that much because I didn't like him. So it was hard going home and not even knowing much about college. I just even thought about it a bit ago before we started. I thought, I don't remember having a counselor talk to me and say, Johnny, what's your plan? Because my senior year, after I got married in November, my senior year, I went to work. I worked at a car wash. So I remember talking to a counselor saying, I want to become a cop, or I want to be a doctor or whatever. I didn't have that. So challenges was financial challenges. Parents didn't speak English and didn't know much about college at all. Mother from Mexico, she didn't know about college. The one brother that did go, he was married and gone. So just financially, I didn't know. Academically, I didn't know. Didn't have a mentor, didn't have anybody I could turn to. My brother was married and gone, that the one that did go to Fresno State. And then being married, being a father, 17 years old, having a son. So I had a lot of obstacles, and it was hard. It was hard, but I was determined to make it, and determined to make sure my kids had the opportunities to go to college, because I want to make sure we had that. So good question.
Well, I thank you for sharing and just sharing your background, because so many of our students are still facing all of that, and knowing that, you know, one of their teachers, one of their counselors, you know, somebody they look up to has faced those same challenges, helps them, because they can look and say, okay, you know,
Yeah.
you were able to overcome those challenges. Well, maybe I can too. And so, I mean, I remember we had one of our students in the AVID program, you know, her family was all in Mexico, and she had a Post-it note. And that was what gave her authority, basically. It was her parental authority. So she went from relative to relative, or person to person's house. And it was that Post-it note that said, okay, now my daughter is now living with you. And so, you know, it's just, you know, so there are often these strong obstacles, but there's so much determination.
Yes.
What inspired you then to start the program that you mentioned, your Bridge to College?
Good. I thought about that too, Cyndy. Before we came on, was the last school I worked at was a middle school. It was a 5-8 school, and I saw some 8th graders, and I saw myself in them. There's one particular student, there's a young lady, and she's now at Fresno State. But when I was there, I had experience already in the past, going on with another counselor to New York to visit Ivy League colleges. And I thought about that. So as I was getting ready to retire, I kind of got a cut out of my last job, but it was okay, because I think it's time to retire and do my passion. So I thought, you know, my passion is getting these Latino kids into colleges. You know, forget about a community college and whatever. I just thought, even though I went there, and I agree, it's okay to go there, but I really have this passion to get our students to the CSUs, UC schools, and private schools. And so I saw low-income students, and I got to meet a lot, you know, of course, knew a lot of students with one or no parents, low income, didn't have family members who went to college. Like this one student that is probably one of my favorite students. Their dad works at or a farm, and the mom doesn't work at all. And she's got 3 little sisters, and I know they're low income, so I know she is. And so just seeing her, I thought, I'm going to do this in this little elementary school or middle school in the low income community. I'm going to get all these 8th graders. It was the 8th graders I could speak to, and said, we're going to take you to colleges. They go, what? I go, we're going to take you to colleges because you belong not only at Fresno State, but at Berkeley or UCLA or Harvard. They go, what? I go, yeah, I'm going to take you guys. They didn't think it was going to happen. So that was my passion. I thought, I'm going to use my experiences, my connections, my ability to raise money, because I didn't want to charge money, and take them to colleges to say, you belong, because if other students belong, and no matter where you come from, it's where you're going.
Right.
So I wanted to get them that to think tomorrow, to think mañana.
Mm-hmm. I remember I was a middle school counselor in Lindsay, which is, you know, very similar to Armona, and we took our students on a college tour. And I remember being on the campus. Well, for many of them, this first time they'd ever, even though they live here in California, they'd never seen the beach. They'd never been to see the ocean. So going down to LA was the first time many of the students had ever been out of the valley at all. And we're on the campus of University of Southern California. And they were the students at the USC were doing an impromptu. They were doing drama on the you know, like outside in the courtyard type of thing. And I had one young lady, and she looked at me and she's like, Mrs. McDonald, would they want somebody like me here? I reached out to her, and I was like, you are exactly the kind of student that those colleges would want. And I love what you're doing is so important because there's and I love the name, the bridge to college, because there is a bridge that they have to, because the colleges are here and they have all these things that they expect. A lot of times our students are here and they need help and they need to know what those hidden agendas are, and what classes they need to be taking, what math do they need to be in, and everything that they can be doing to be prepared. So what are some of those challenges that you have seen that first generation students face in preparing for college?
Yeah, I know I can think of a couple of instances. One student was a young lady in Lemoore, one of my students, and she dropped out. And I went to go visit her in person. I said, what's going on? Well, now she's got a boyfriend, and then it was the virtual, right? It's COVID. So she couldn't handle it. She said, Miss Baltierra, I can't do this thing. It's too hard. And the technology, it didn't work for her. And so I thought, man, this is killing our kids, a lot of our students, because they don't have access to technology and able to use technology to be successful. And so it's great to have it, great to have technology, but if you don't have it at home and can't use it, yeah, how are you gonna be successful? And then another student, actually it was a sister or brother, same thing. I called them and said, what happened? You didn't show up to our meeting on Zoom. And they go, Miss Baltierra, we can't. Our computer doesn't work. Our Xfinity's not working. Our technology's not working. And we share a computer and it just didn't work. And then they were bombing on classes. I said, I can't have students with a D or F in the A through G courses. I just can't. I can't keep you. And I felt bad. I thought and they go, that's okay. You can let us go. And then we'll try to bounce back and come back next year. Because one was a freshman, one's I think a junior. But I just thought, man, and then academically, their parents, these sister brother, they spoke Spanish. They were farm workers. They lived in Fresno in an apartment, just almost a couple miles from my house, or a few miles. But I thought that it's just, economically, technology-wise, they can't. It's just they have hardships that I had. I mean, poor welfare, no fathers, low income, and same thing that's going on today, that they have these disadvantages, or I think it's inequities that it's out there. Our kids can't compete. And so that's why I do what I do. And I wish I could bring those students back, but it's like I'll finish by saying, I told that sister and brother, you belong at UCLA, but you can't go with me because your grades don't do it. Your SAT scores, which she hadn't taken SAT, the junior, they're not good enough. You have to have a higher GPA. You have to have rigor. For me, you have to be taking rigorous courses and honors and AP and be getting A's and B's. And so they go, I'm sorry, Miss Baltierra. I go, no, I'm sorry, because it's not working for you. But you see me in another year, you pick it up, and I will definitely have you back in my program. So it's things like that parents working farm workers and then not speaking English, and them not knowing who to go to. And I've had one student say, Mrs. Baltierra, I can't get a hold of my counselor. This is during COVID. I can't get a hold of, I forgot if it was a him or her, and can you help me? He says, yeah, of course I can. That's what that's what I'm doing. That's what I want to help you with. I'm glad you asked me. And that's sad when the student says, I can't get a hold of my counselor. I know COVID wise, it's hard, but I wish counselors would email or phone these students and say, hey, I'm trying to get in touch with you. How can I help you? I think I would have done that had I still been to school. I would have been calling my kids one-on-one, and like I'm doing now, or I go to their homes and visit with them. And I've taken food. I think I've told you, I've volunteered at church, and we had food drives. What did I do? I took boxes of food to my kids because I know they need them. And yeah, 2 girls, one in Fresno, one in the Hanford area. Their families, they live in, I'm gonna cry now. They live in motorhomes. And I thought, man, and I was happy to take them boxes of food with just say, this is for you. We just love you. Bristol College just loves you. And then I drove away. But I thought, man, I was glad to be able to do that. I mean, what other counselor will do that? That's what we need to be doing. So,
right.
Anyway.
I mean, you've even taken of Christmas presents too, haven't you?
Yeah, I just did. Very good. Just this Christmas, I'm part of the Elks membership. Thank you, Cyndy. Sorry, Elks membership, and we had Christmas giveaway and boxes of food. And I thought, I'm in. So how many Christmas gifts can I get? So I'm already thinking, how many kids can I give to? So I emailed all our Fresno kids, because I really did the Fresno kids instead of the Hanford students, I should say. So 4 of them said, Miss Baltierra, I'll take gifts, and here's the names and family members we did it. Boxes of food, Christmas gifts for everybody in the family. So I thought, I'll do whatever it takes to take care of our kids.
Now you work with students from a multiple different high schools and region here in Central California. So how do you create a college going culture when they're at different high schools?
I know I did that one schools. At all those schools, it's the things I say and the things I do. I was thinking of the school I worked at. I did a college of career day, but I want to go back and say, and I was a VP at one high school, and I was a disciplinarian, and I didn't like that role, but I knew I had to.
I can't imagine you being a disciplinarian.
I know.
The picture just
Yeah, but you know what? I like that. Now you can make me laugh, Cyndy. Thank you. I like that because what I did was I thought, hey, Cyndy, I just found out you cussed at the teacher. But you know what? But you know, if you cuss at the teacher, you're not going to be able to be in class, mijo. If you can't be in class, how are you going to do A through G, mija? Because you got to get the A through G's, baby, so you can go to college. So I wouldn't make them think, what? Mr. Baltierra is supposed to suspend me. He's talking about college. But I was doing a lot of academic counseling when they were cussing. One girl cussed me 4 times. I said, the more you cuss me, the more I can suspend you, but I don't want to suspend you because we have D's. D's are not A through G, man, huh? You got to get C's and B's. You got to stop cussing at me. I go, but I do got to suspend you for 4 days. And so, yeah, I was always talking, academically or A through G, thinking these guys, they have to know it. And all these kids didn't know it or still don't know it. A lot of them don't. But the last school I worked at, I was telling you, that's where I picked up this idea of bridge to college with these 8th graders. But I started with 4th graders, 5th graders through 8th graders. Every year I started a college career day. I brought in college reps throughout the valley to the school in Armona in Hanford. It's in the Hanford area, you guys at UCLA. It's near Hanford. So I brought in college reps. I brought in professionals, doctors, lawyers. My favorite, my wife, the nurse, she came and did a nursing, how to be a nurse, and brought in the whole a lab and everything. And all my kids loved her. And so I brought them in saying, I want you guys to challenge, motivate, inspire these 5th through 8th graders on going to college and being a doctor, nurse, engineer, whatever you want to be. So I started, I did that for every year for 5 years. And I love that day. And all the kids look forward to, Baltierra, when's the next college day? When's the next college day? Or when's that coming up? And so And so at the high schools too, I worked at, it was just always promoting college and always talking about that. And then one thing I did, I'll finish with this and this question, is that always getting back to them. I think my kids love me because they said, Miss Baltierra, you don't mess around. When I ask you for something, man, you call me or catch me in the kitchen or, in the hallway or in the walking at break or lunch, like you give me back the answer. Yeah, I was very good about getting back, making sure I responded to our students in a timely manner, meaning right away. I didn't like to say, oh, make an appointment, see me tomorrow. No, I'll go catch you in your class as soon as you're done and give you the scholarship, all right? Bye, mija. And so I, make them go to class, but I was on it because I wanted to make sure our students were taken care of. So always, learning about college and career.
That's impressive. And we don't realize what an impact and what a lasting impact those kinds of things, just those kinds of interactions. I'm cussing at you, but you're talking to me about college. I mean, you can't get better than a college going culture than that. I love that. So what would you, as we close up, what would you like counselors to know about as they work with first generation students? What advice would you have for, these are counselors from all over. We actually have people in our class that are from all over the world and all over the US. So, think about the first generation students that. Okay,
and I really thought about just the 3 C's that I do, the 3 C's I believe in. I even thought of my 3 E's, but I'll go with the 3 C's first, which I'm very passionate about. Is number 1, you got to connect. You got to connect with your students to let them know who you are. Because they know me, like, oh, Miss Baltierra, man, he was married at 17 and he's still married to his wife and poor one for no daddy. I'm open, a very open person, as you can tell, with my students, whether one-on-one or in a group. First thing I'll say is, I am Johnny Baltierra. I was born in Mexicali and I didn't have a father I didn't like or a stepfather. I didn't even know my dad. If you have a dad and mom, I'll trade you. And so, I get personal with them. So connect with your kids, let them know that you believe in them and that who you are, like where you come from a little bit. And the other one is communicate. You got to communicate with your students about knowledge, about all this college access information. Communicate with them who you are, and of course, all about colleges, community colleges and CSUs and UC schools. I know there's a lot, but give them a little bit. There's flyers and brochures and how to research a college and get on a website. So communicate. And the other one is communicate, connect, communicate, and collaborate. Collaborate meaning, help them to meet those people. Like I like connecting them to the admission directors of the colleges. So then I collaborate. Hey, this is Charles Cole from Sac State, here's his business card. Or when you meet him, shake a hand, get to meet him, get his business card, and then make sure you collaborate. Make sure you follow up with him, Mija. Okay, cool. All right, Cyndy, make sure you follow up with Charles from Sac State. So collaborate. And so I'm big at that, meaning also with Bristol College, is that making sure these sponsors get to know our kids, and the counselors and admission directors that I speak to. The E's are educate. First, you got to educate them about E through G and colleges and requirements and SAT and all kinds of stuff, right? And the other is empower. Once you educate them, empower them, say, here, go get it, go do it. I dare you, let's go. I'm gonna then follow up with them. Hey, I just gave you that paper. Did you complete it? Did you do the SAT? That was last weekend, Mija. And then the other is embrace. When they do it, when they get it done, embrace your success.
Oh, I love that.
Those are my 3 E's, my C's. My 3 C's and my 3 E's for students to be successful, especially first-gen students. All right, guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Johnny, thank you so much. Yeah. This has just been so illuminating, and we love your passion and just your compassion for your students. And I know I've seen the results and how they respond to you, and they feel that connection. They really, really do. So
thank you guys, and appreciate you guys, and good luck, and continue to connect, collaborate, and communicate with your students. It's vital. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.